Hey everybody, welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the only podcast where I'm here. I'm Johananon, I'm the game master, some would say of extraordinariness, and I also like board games, and I'm a guru, so yeah.
I'm Casualty CDG. I'm a retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian, and tonight we're here to give you scabies!
And my name is Drew. I'm just kidding. I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. And I feel pretty. Oh, so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and bright. It's so wonderful to see all of you today.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm always enjoying this.
Everybody, welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast. This is episode 23 of the podcast. We're recording on December 11th, 2021. And the holidays are quickly approaching, or here for some of you. And Gary is showing some festive attire. Jahan is back in his special Lord of the Rings Christmas sweater, and I'm liking the vibes that these guys are giving off today. I gotta admit.
Yeah, that's right. Tis the season, right? So earlier yesterday I went to the grocery store and there was just a little girl screaming Merry Christmas to everybody. And so then it made everybody pretty happy. And then today I was at the grocery store and the employees were putting up Christmas decorations and they were like laughing and fucking off and having a good time. And so today was just full of holiday cheer. Yesterday was full of holiday cheer. So why not, why not throw on the Santa hat and help spread a little bit of that magical holiday cheer?
When you say the little girl yelling Merry Christmas to everybody, it's one of those things that could either be extremely annoying or extremely charming. Just depends on the child.
I have great news for you. We were just paying as she came in the door. So it was great for us. We paid and we left. And so maybe everyone there had a horrible time, but not us. We quite enjoyed ourselves.
Were you charmed? Officially charmed?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Let the festivity begin, right? Let the good charms, let the good vibes spread. Merry holidays.
It's good to see you getting into the spirit. I didn't think I would see that. I'm a huge Christmas guy. I love Christmas.
I like the holidays. I just hate Christmas music. I think that's a pretty fair distinction to make. Like, I like the lights on the house. I like the tree. I like the gatherings, the festivities. I just think Christmas music is annoying as fuck. It's the same playlist every year since I was, like, for 30 years, right? And, like, every now and then there's the same song in a new version.
I feel like Mariah Carey is probably making enough off of her Christmas song to, like, buy a small country at this point.
I was out running errands today with my wife and doing some Christmas shopping and stuff, so of course we had the radio station tuned to whichever local station is the one that plays Christmas music all day. And I think that
why
getting in and out of our car, driving around, I had to have heard All I Want for Christmas Is You like 4-5 times at least, just getting in and out of the car today.
I love it.
Every year with this. Why do people keep doing this to themselves?
See, I enjoy when people like are annoyed around me. It makes me happy. I don't know, because I'm a dick, I guess. But so I love repetitive Christmas music. I think it's hilarious.
We just got confirmation that Jahan is an energy vampire.
Maybe. It's entirely possible. I don't know. I always have songs stuck in my head, so it's kind of nice that other people are subjected to the inside of my brain for a season,
There's something wrong with you, son.
Yeah. Sorry. I need medication or something.
Well, on that note, speaking of the holidays, of course, the past few episodes of the podcast, I've been doing my little Oscar minute because I always say how award season's coming up, but this is the season for all of that. And we actually got kind of snuck up on me personally. I kind of forgot it was happening until the day of, but the Game Awards happened this week, which are an interesting show. Have either of you actually sat and watched the Game Awards?
Not
just curious.
Recently, no.
So
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Maybe back in like high school, right?
I used to watch them all the time.
I think G4 TV used to do their own Game Awards. Maybe that's what I watched.
So this show is produced by, hosted and I think produced by Jeff Keighley, who's a industry veteran. And the show, I think it's been since 2014. I think this was the 7th show or something like that. And it's become, so they have all their awards, right? You know, in the game of the year and then genres, you know, best action adventure game, best horror game, or whatever it may be, the breakdown. But the true reason I feel like people tune in to watch it are, you know, not to disrespect the video game developers that work on all these games, because this is their livelihood and they put a lot of work into it. But I feel like the mass, the majority of people who tune into the Game Awards that stream it live are streaming it to see the game announcements and trailers that are shown during
Most definitely,
the award ceremony, because it has become a almost E3 like event where there are just trailers and game announcements sprinkled throughout the show. And even this year we saw a lot of actual trailers for other things, video game adjacent. Like we saw a trailer for the Halo series on Paramount Plus, and there was a trailer for the Sonic 2 movie that gave us our first look at Idris Elba's Knuckles that he's in there. Did either of you see the trailer?
I have indeed seen Idris Elba's Knuckles before.
But I mean, not his fists. You know, we're talking the CG character Knuckles, like the character from the Sonic and
that's my mistake, Drew.
Video game series.
That's my mistake.
Just wanted to make sure there was no confusion out there.
No, I was very confused.
I'm on for that one. I'm on board. So it looks like the Knuckles that I just looked it up, right? It looks like the Knuckles they're using is the one that they kind of went with in the newer animated series, where they widened his torso out a little bit, made him a little bit buffer. And so this is a look that's already been around for Knuckles. And I'm used to it already, so I like the look. I'm on board.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
Tails look good. Sonic still looks good ever since they changed it from the when there was the huge fan backlash for the first ever.
So I hate fan backlash when they're like, hey, you better do that. But in this case, he looked so stupid. And like they did fix him. He looked like the kid from Jumanji when he was turning into a monkey.
Oh, that's actually a really good comparison.
He looked just like him.
You know, a lot of times I like to tell you guys what the best search engine in the world pulls up whenever I search things in it. And so I looked up what Knuckles looks like in Sonic 2. My search was Knuckles Sonic Movie 2. Of course, I'm using Bing. The first image is a fan-made Sonic Movie 2 female Knuckles rendering. And so it is just a Knuckles with big old breasticles. And
Do people just use Bing for porn?
I think everyone is trolling like Bing's engine at this point, right? I think everyone's on board. It's not just us anymore. People are doing creative things with this bad engine.
It's really funny.
Speaking of the Jumanji movie that you referenced, Jahan, that movie when I was a child terrified me. The part where he initially gets sucked into the board game scared me, and then the part where the kid starts turning it into a monkey, nope, wasn't having it as a kid. Nope.
Yeah,
that's the stuff of nightmares.
I love that movie, but I could see it freaking somebody out.
I love it now, but as a child, it took me a while. I had to be slowly ushered in.
Fair. Are you guys fans of Sonic, the Sonic multiverse as it is? I'm not sure what to call the Sonic universe.
No, I think that people have too much nostalgia for the old Sonic games and that they're not actually very good.
Oh, like the games? Yeah, the older games. I'm not. It's not my thing.
Not to cut you off, John. I was also thinking in my head, Drew. What about the old cartoons growing up?
I never really watched them that much. I mean, I know of them. I'd see it occasionally, and I know I had friends that liked them, but I just was one of those that I never was able to catch it when it was on, I guess.
All about chili dogs, which came out of nowhere.
He was voiced by Steve Urkel.
Was he really?
Yeah,
but,
he was.
No, I watched that show all the time, and I thought it was great. But no, I don't have too much nostalgia for Sonic, but I actually liked the movie. I was told it was a huge steamy pile of shit, and then I watched it. I was like, "This is fine.
I went into it expecting it to be terrible and thought it was surprisingly fun. Like, I wouldn't sit here and argue that it's like a fantastic movie by any means, but it was more fun than it had any right to be. I thought.
Yeah, it delivered on the promise. It was a Sonic movie that was completely watchable with family, and the second one actually looks like it might be pretty good.
Yeah, well, I have nostalgia for Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, and it was the most Jim Carrey that he's been in years.
Yeah. It looks like, he initially was not very Robotnik-y, but by the end of it had become very Robotnik-y. And so I say I think this Sonic movie might be better than the other one.
He looked very Robotnik-y throughout the trailer and just going all out Jim Carrey.
Sure
so I'm
well,
for it.
Now he's gonna come back from traveling dimensions, and he's probably gonna have like minions and stuff. I don't know. I'm excited.
Did he do any films in between Sonic and Sonic 2, or is he going straight from the?
I don't think so.
I know Sonic be the only one who knew the answer to that.
Yeah, so I just know Sonic came out right before the pandemic started. I think in February 2020. So it was one of the last movies I saw in theaters before the world shut down almost 2 years ago.
I'm a big fan of the Sonic verse. I gotta tell you, I know some of the obscure characters, not all of them, but I liked the Sonic games for Sega. I had a Genesis in my room. I had the thing that you could like the Game Shark. Or no, was it the game? It was the Sonic Knuckles attachment. Like you plugged it into the top of the thing, and it went into the top of your Sega. It was super dope. I played the crap out of Sonic Adventure Battles with raising the chows, like raising the little pets in the sanctuaries. You could make them good or evil, or teach them flight or fighting or swimming, and like make them play little games with each other and train them up. I had a ton of fun with that. And of course, like I said, I've watched some of the most recent live action Sonic stuff. I mean, it's not great. It's kids shows, but, I've seen it. I'm a fan of Sonic as it stands. I've seen the new Sonic movie. I think I watched it twice and I don't remember it so well either time. I remember the beginning is fine and the end is like, meh. Whatever.
I like that our Game Awards talk quickly just became a deep dive of the Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hey, franchise. Gary likes Sonic.
I'm here for it. I'm good. I'm good with it.
I like Sonic. I'm here. I'm putting my flag down, and I like Sonic.
I don't dislike Sonic. I like a lot of his newer games were pretty good. I remember the one on the Wii that you like use tilt controls on was pretty fun. I remember playing that one a lot.
I think Sonic's a pretty iconic character as it stands as well.
Like, I like Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, and Robotnik, I think, is a funny villain. I like the characters, but I just think if you go back and try to play the Sonic games from the Genesis days that when it blew up, I just think that they're kind of blah. Like, I thought they were fun as a kid, but you go back, I just don't think they hold
They're kind of meh, yeah.
Have this nostalgic space for it, which I mean, good for Sonic, good for Sega because they're still making Sonic games to this day. But
I don't have a lot of love for retro gaming. That's just not my passion. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go back and play Mario. I'm not going to go back and play Super Mario 2, and I'm not going to go back and play Sonic or even Crazy Taxi. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go back and play any old games.
Yeah, Gary hates retro gaming and remakes. So
there's a lot of new, free, great stuff to play, and there's a lot of indie developers putting stuff out where I don't need to be paying these major companies to play the same old stuff.
It's fair. What else happened at the Game Awards, Drew?
Well, I'll start off with the biggest award, which the Game of the Year award, which we talked about this actually within the last week or two on our show.
And I said it was one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah, the Game of the Year went to It Takes Two, which I know Jahan was talking about really enjoying and having a great co-op experience. So sounds like that was well deserved. I've yet to play it, but
Andy and I actually played a little bit of It Takes Two last week. We played for like maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Did you see Game of the Year potential there while you were playing it?
It's very cool. It's very fun, and it's made me laugh out loud multiple times, which, games don't generally do. Like, I don't remember the last time laughing out loud in games since, like, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and that was, like, sort of has that same old comedic style of Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day, that adventure comedy that you get the comedy along the story. It's not that inappropriate, but it's a great time. Yeah, it's a really fun game. It's beautifully written, and the environments are really cool, and of course, your skills and weapons and mini games kind of change between every map.
How far did you get?
We played for like 2 hours. So from what I understand, it's only like a 15-hour game, or even a 12-hour game.
That's pretty lengthy for a fully co-op game.
I've played it for a while. I played it for a while, and we haven't beaten it yet. So I don't know. Maybe we just take forever, but yeah.
I'll shout out a couple other games here because Deathloop won a few awards: Best Art Direction, Best Game Direction, Best Narrative went to Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I actually talked about recently, and I beat it, and I actually really enjoyed it. And it did have a really good narrative, so that was well deserved. Let's see, audio design for Forza Horizon 5, Best Score, Near Replicant.
You know who didn't win a single award? Cyberpunk.
That's true.
What a tragedy.
They weren't even nominated for Game of the Year, actually.
No.
I'm looking now. I saw that Best Score in Music. They're nominated for that. Gosh, I know I saw them other places.
Yeah, they were on a couple other things. Best Performance, which is an interesting category for Resident Evil Village. Maggie Robertson. She played the giant lady that
Lady
everyone was hot for.
Dimitrescu.
Yeah.
I played that game. I liked it a lot. I liked Resident Evil. It Takes Two on a few things. Best multiplayer game, of course. And then the player's voice. There was a bracket for players to vote on their favorite, and Halo Infinite won. So there you go.
Whatever.
What? How did Halo Infinite
Gary,
win?
bro, I've been talking to other people. Other people like it.
The campaign just came out. How would it win for best?
Oh, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Like, what the fuck? That's not even.
Mindless loyalty is how it won.
That is a bonkers, bogus list is what it is.
It's probably the only game title half of those people could spell. So.
I wonder if Microsoft
really
threw money towards the performance.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised at how many names that they had there that did. Now, some were remote in, they weren't live at the show, but I mean, Giancarlo Esposito was there in person. They showed him in the crowd and everything, and he presented the award for Best Independent Game. Laura Bailey and Ashley Johnson were there presenting, which of course are well known in the voice acting and mocap world. Ben Schwartz, Sonic, he voices Sonic, and he presented the trailer.
You say Sonic, I think Jean-Ralphio.
Oh, absolutely.
Jean-Ralphio's Sonic?
Yeah, man, Jean-Ralphio is Sonic.
Simu Liu, Shang-Chi himself, presented Best Action Game. He was there in person, too. Hideo Kojima, he was via video, so was Guillermo del Toro. Ming-Na Wen was there in person.
Oh, wow.
Is in The Mandalorian and is going to be in the
Mulan, yeah.
Yeah, she's the voice of Mulan.
Mulan, The Mandalorian, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Paul George was there, the NBA player, and he presented Best Action Adventure Game and seemed surprisingly into video games. Like, he did not seem like they forced him, at gunpoint to be there to present an award. Like, he seemed like he maybe games. So that was kind of fun to see. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss presented a trailer for The Matrix Awakens, which is like the big Unreal 5 engine debut with this kind of Matrix trailer thing.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And Neil Druckmann presented Game of the Year, which Neil Druckmann, I don't know if y'all are familiar, but he's been the head honcho over at Naughty Dog, so was the lead on Uncharted and The Last of Us, and he's one of those video game guys that's kind of he's kind of surpassing the medium, because he was the game director for things like The Last of Us, and he's directing a few, if not all, episodes of The Last of Us TV series for HBO. So it's kind of interesting how he's made that leap. I actually don't think he directs all of them. I think it might just be some, but I'm really just kind of talking out my ass on that because I know for a fact he's directing in some capacity.
Some of the really interesting. So a lot of these games that won, well, not a lot, but a few of them I hadn't even heard of, and I was like, "What is this?" And that's less surprising in indie game. You can't hear about every indie game, but the winner of that, of best indie game and best debut indie game, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Have you seen that game?
Yes, because it's a kind of action-y game that's up my alley. It's a PS5 exclusive right now. I don't know if it's for PS4 also, but I know it's a PlayStation exclusive. It might be on PC also.
I think it was an Epic Game Store exclusive as well.
I think it's one of those exclusivity windows that it might come to Xbox eventually, but it's debuting on PlayStation exclusively.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Yeah, it looks, you have like a staff, like a magic staff, and it looks like you can learn all kinds of different powers to use with it. And something about gathering like spirit minions. Kind of like that one game we played all the time, Gary, remember?
No, a game where we gather spirit minions.
Yeah.
The one where we ziplined from
island that one.
Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like that.
Something Hollow.
Something Hollow, yeah. But the other indie...
Drake's Hollow.
Drake's Hollow, yeah. It sounds kind of like that, but it looks crazy. Some of the other nominees for Best Indie Game I have heard of, Inscription and Loop Hero, specifically. Have you played either of those, Drew?
No, but I've played 12 Minutes, which was another one of the best independent game.
I've had that. I downloaded that on my Xbox because it's free on Game Pass, and I haven't given it a chance yet.
I did not like it.
You didn't like it?
It's interesting. It was kind of confusing. I ended up getting frustrated with it, but I wanted to see how it ended, so I followed a guide for some of it just to get to the end to see what was going on with it, and it didn't go where I wanted it to necessarily. It's interesting. It's a time loop game,
Yeah.
a Groundhog Day-esque story, but it's the same 12 minutes that repeats.
Yeah. And then, also, you might be happy about... Do you have VR, Drew? Do you have any VR?
I don't. I had a PlayStation VR for a while, and I just never had it hooked up, and there were too many cords, and so I ended up selling it eventually.
Well, the best
but
VR
I had
game...
it, and I thought it was incredible for a while when it was new and pretty. There just wasn't enough coming out for it at the time that I felt justified to own it. But I do think it's kind of a way of the future for games.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been seeing like haptic vests and stuff are becoming more affordable. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 won Best VR game. Funny enough.
Yeah, and I'll say this, just from kind of watching the show, the bit that I did, my biggest takeaway was that a lot of the awards themselves were just, in my opinion, completely overshadowed because they would be bookended by trailers and announcements and people showing up to reveal those. And so I think that maybe the presentation of that took away from the award winners themselves, but, what are you gonna do? It's still cool to see all the announcements. I'm trying to, there were so many announcements that we would be here all night going through all of them. But yeah. I mean, we can point out a couple if there's any that either of you really want to note. If you want me to start, I'll say I was just really happy to finally see Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League actual gameplay footage, because it looks pretty much exactly how I thought it would look, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it looks like what I was expecting.
I didn't see that gameplay footage. Is it like a 3D action beat 'em up type of situation?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's developed by Rocksteady, who did... Is that right? Yeah, Rocksteady. They did the Batman Arkham games, so kind of think in line of that.
Yeah, it did look a lot like that. Yeah.
It's multiplayer cooperative too, right?
I believe so, and it looked very... Here's the thing, though. The Arkham games are they have really good combat, but there's a lot of exploration, slow-paced narrative stuff in between. Suicide Squad looked like it might be a lot more action-packed.
Yeah.
Almost, it kind of gave me, what's that game called? Sunset Overdrive vibes, if y'all
Okay.
ever played that.
Yeah.
But switching between King Shark and Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn and Deadshot. So it looked fun.
The characters look dope, man. Like, I saw, you said Bloodshot, right? He was like jetpacking around, which is really cool. And then King Shark's just going around and ripping people in half and using a minigun. Looked like fun.
Actually, Deadshot.
It's Deadshot.
Bloodshot, I think, is who Vin Diesel
Vin
played
Diesel
in that
was
movie
Bloodshot.
that
Yeah,
came
that's
out.
right.
But Deadshot is who Will Smith played in the first, not the Suicide Squad, just Suicide Squad.
But then Idris Elba was
Oh, it's something similar. It's something
Bloodsport?
between those.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got Deadshot,
See, that's why I got confused.
Bloodshot, and Bloodsport are all different characters.
Hey, I'm Sports Shot.
I'm Sports Blood.
I'm Dead Sport.
But yeah, no, it looked exactly like what I wanted it to look like. I'm pretty excited for that one, actually.
I realized I made a huge mistake in that a lot of the stuff that I wish that I want Gary to see, I probably should have sent to him, because they showed, Saints Row gameplay, so I would be interested to get your take on that. I don't know if you watched that, Gary.
No, I didn't, but I would love to. I'm kind of glad they pushed it back now in hindsight. I hope it's good when it comes out and not bad.
Yeah, I also hope that it's good and not bad. I hope that most things
Man,
are good and not bad.
I was going to trash Halo and I decided not to at the last second, but they pushed Halo back, a year and a half, and they still just released a beta that's it's very well received, but...
Well, we'll talk about it. I'll for sure talk about it more later, because the campaign is out and I have a lot to say about it. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. I did send y'all.
So they pushed it back, and I hope it's good and not bad.
They showed the trailer for Star Wars Eclipse, which is a new Star Wars game, and this finally is outside of the EA realm, since that deal is now over.
Finally.
EA does not have exclusive publishing rights for Star Wars games, so this is being developed by Quantic Dream, who did games like Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, and a lot of those that I really liked. And Gary, I know you liked Detroit Become Human, so I don't know, because this was just an FMV trailer, which looked really cool. Don't get me wrong, it looked awesome, but we have no idea how that game's going to play or anything. I would assume, based on Quantic Dream history, that it's going to be a narrative choice based game similar to Detroit, but it might be a full action game of some sort. I don't know.
No, the trailer shows no gameplay, obviously, but it was a really good trailer, though.
It is in early development, which
Yeah.
means 2023 at earliest, probably.
I'm totally on board with that. And in reference to Detroit, that's maybe my favorite PlayStation title of all time.
Damn.
Maybe so.
Damn. Yeah, and then so there's a couple other announcements. Telltale is apparently back, which is crazy and cool, because those people do cool games. I love the Walking Dead series, but they're doing Star Trek, and one I'm more excited for, The Expanse. Me and Gary, we were doing an Expanse game, TTRPG, for a long time, a campaign, and we both liked the show. We might start up a campaign again sometime, but the Expanse game looked really fun, so...
Yeah, I think we would be remiss to not include a shout out for anything involving The Expanse on this podcast in particular, considering y'all have streamed The Expanse. Are y'all doing an Expanse campaign currently, or is it?
We ended it recently. I think we did a 25 episode run, available on video on demand on YouTube. So
there you go. And then there's some other things too. A Plague Tale 2, they showed gameplay. There's some new release date stuff. Like this made me laugh. There was a game that was revealed in 2017, I think, for Xbox, called Tunic, and it's a Zelda-like game where you play as a little fox character, and it's been one of those games that's just kind of become a joke every year of like, when's this thing actually coming out? They finally announced that it is coming out early 2022, so that's actually going to see the light of day. There's more Cuphead. There's a Gollum Lord of the Rings game.
I don't know how to feel about the Gollum game, man.
It's interesting because it's not based in the movie world. I think it's its own thing. So it's just a Gollum stealth-based game.
It's like Splinter Cell, except you're Gollum. And you have
everyone,
no weapons. And you're
everyone
Gollum.
is out there just begging for that piece of shit.
It might be really good. Who knows?
Yeah, sure.
Which, speaking of Lord of the Rings games, the group that did the Shadow of Mordor games, I don't know if either of you played those.
Oh, huge fan of Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, they're doing a Wonder Woman game. So,
Oh, are they doing it? Interesting.
I liked those games. I like the engine, but I have the same complaints that you're always going to get from me. I want character customization. I want to be the guy.
Fair.
I want to be the guy.
See, that's
my only
just
complaint.
that will never be a deal breaker for me because like I think it's cool to be able to play as characters or if they want a tailored story based around like being a part of the narrative, so much so as a pre-made character is fine for me. I like it. Gary hates it.
I don't always hate it, but I particularly in that style of role-playing adventure game, I would like to make my own guy because you get, deeply connected to the character and I want to customize it. I want to be able to do everything. I don't just want to ride on this guy's shoulder through the story.
That's fair.
I'll do one more mention. The Halo TV series that'll be on Paramount Plus got a real trailer. I mean, it was a short trailer, but more than just a teaser, and it looked it looked good. The production value and stuff looked really good, so we'll see. I still can't help but be, even as a Halo fan, a little bit hesitant about it. I feel like it's just
I don't think it's gonna be good.
Almost doomed from the start. Like,
Yeah.
are fans going to be happy with it? Can fans be happy with it? I just don't know.
No, there's no way.
I have a sinking feeling. I watched the trailer too, and the trailer did look cool visually. I just have a feeling that the show is going to be a lot of people standing around talking about the politics of the war and, like, not enough awesome alien fighting.
Yeah, I'm going to see Chief, dropping in from orbit and landing on his feet and,
Yeah, if you want to see awesome alien fighting, might I direct you to Starship Troopers?
Yes. The perfect movie. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Absolutely. So, honestly, the Game Awards, there's just so many announcements that it's kind of hard to podcast about because you would literally have to do, a 3 to 4 hour show just to be able to go through every announcement and give thoughts. But I think we did a decent job pointing out some of the highlights or things that we are actually excited for. So if you happen to be a developer or somebody that worked on one of these games and we didn't talk about your game, I'm sorry.
Oh, speaking of which, actually, real quick, congratulations to Age of Empires for being Strategy Game of the Year. We had just interviewed their narrative director, Noble Smith, not that long ago, and they won Best Strategy/Sim Game.
Good. Was there a category for Best Dad Game? Because I hear that one's on the list for Best Dad Game. That's the word.
Age of Empires.
That Age of Empires is a total dad game.
I mean, yeah, it's like the History Channel mixed with an RTS, and it's pretty. I like it. I enjoy it.
I do too. But you're like, you could be a dad. You could be a dad. Look, you've been holding a baby for like a week. How's it feel on you?
Feels pretty good.
You've got a brand new baby niece, and you're loving it.
I do love my new niece.
So, Jahan, you've got some dad vibes. Drew, you don't really play a whole lot of PC games, right?
I do not.
So, see, I would love to throw you under the bus here, but you're not a PC guy.
Well, should we move on to our fresh out the box
Yeah,
takes
sure.
for the week.
Did we talk about Star Wars Eclipse? Is that a thing?
We did talk
Yeah,
about
we
Star
talked
Wars.
about it.
Okay.
That's the one, the Quantic Dream one that we.
That's right. Quantic Dream is making that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that trailer was. I thought of that. I watched it right during that, so I forgot. I missed most of what you said.
Gary
watching the
doing the
trailer.
Lord's work and just watching trailers and not
You know
listening
what?
to us, but I respect it.
Let's just be honest here. I was looking at the trailer because I wanted to keep up, okay? It wasn't because I didn't want to keep up. There were lots of stars, there were lots of drums, and there were spaceships, so it's got everything you could want out of a Star Wars game. I'm excited. All right, let's do this.
There definitely was a villainous character in it that looked straight up like Voldemort from the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, really? I thought he looked like Thanos' homeboy with the mind control.
Yeah, very similar.
Ebony
Very,
Maw?
I'd say they're in the same
Yeah.
realm.
Ebony Maw, that's right. Yeah, it looked like he just threw on like a cybernetic guy. It's good to see he's still getting work in Hollywood.
Oh, goodness. All right. So let's get to what we've been watching. Does anybody want to start?
Drew wants to start.
Okay, I'll start because
Yeah.
I actually saw a movie today
What did you
that
say?
I'm ready to gush about. I saw Steven Spielberg's adaptation of West Side Story. And this is probably my first 5 out of 5 this year. This is a masterpiece. This is that good. It's that good. It's that good. Movies, man. I love movies.
High
And
praise.
this is the type of movie that made me say, man, I love movies. It was that good. I don't have nostalgia for West Side Story. It's not a show that I've, there's a film version from 1961 that's still very popular, and has a lot of fans. And I had actually not seen it, and I watched it earlier this week, and it still holds up. Actually, it's very good too, with the exception of the fact that all the Puerto Ricans in the film are mostly played by white actors in brownface. That's just a known
That is
thing
true.
that is unfortunately a product of its time. So just removing that element from it, the movie itself still holds up well. But then Steven Spielberg has just, with his directorial skill, has taken it to a new level. With this version that's in theaters this weekend. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. That's where my "I Feel Pretty" at the beginning of the show came from, because that's a song from West Side Story. But
I like to imagine that it wasn't racism that made white people in brownface. That it was just like after he made the movie, he was like, Puerto Ricans are real? Like, like he didn't know or something. Because that's a better world to live in than the
Thought
rest
it was
of
a made-up fantasy people.
Yeah, you didn't know.
Script.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
New York City is real. What the hell are you talking about?
And for anybody who's been living under a rock and doesn't really know the story of West Side Story at all, I mean, it's Romeo and Juliet. It's like a modernized version of it that is gangs fighting over territory in New York. That's a love story, forbidden love story that kind of follows the tragic tale of Romeo and Juliet. This version stars Ansel Elgort as Tony, who he has his own controversies, and I'm not the biggest fan of him in general. He's Baby Driver himself, if you've seen Baby Driver, but I do like what he was doing in this film.
Is it a special car, or does the baby have like a box, or like can he reach the?
Is he voiced by the guy who shot the cinematographer?
Oh no! I don't know who
What?
that is.
Is the baby driver?
Oh my gosh,
voiced
Gary's
by-
making a Boss Baby joke, and I'm so mad that it took me that long
A
to
boss
catch on
baby
to it.
joke.
This is where you guys get me all in a tizzy when I'm on a roll about something and you start entering these jokes. Then I can't handle it. The other lead in West Side Story is I believe it's pronounced Rachel Zegler, but she is pretty much an unknown who got the role of Maria, and she's already going places. She's been cast in Disney's live-action adaptation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and will be playing Snow White in an upcoming film. So she's going places, and she's fantastic as Maria in this film. But overall, I mean, I was just very taken with it the whole time. The choreography throughout is incredible, and Spielberg has always said that he wanted to direct a musical. And after this, I'm just like, do more, give me more musicals. And this is a 1957, based on a 1957 musical written by Stephen Sondheim, and so it has the cheese of that, but somehow just with Spielberg's direction, it still becomes real and gritty, but it's also not afraid to just be a musical. I mean, I can't rave about it enough. I thought it was absolutely incredible. It sounds like it's probably not on track to do very well at the box office this weekend, which is unfortunate, but with Christmas just 2 weeks away, I would imagine there will be a lot of families going to see it, so I could see it playing the long game at the box office.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it sounds cool. I like the Romeo and Juliet story, actually, a lot more than you would expect me to. And it sounds, I don't know, it looks good. I've seen some of the, like, dancing choreography and the singing, and it looks very good. And Gary's just going, meh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like musicals.
That's
so
fine.
You don't want to hear what I have to say, because
No,
I'm just not going to like
no
it.
musical will ever be better than Anna and the Apocalypse. That one had zombies, so
I've seen Anna and the Apocalypse,
The
actually.
it's a good one.
part about Disney movies is when people start singing, and they just keep singing all movie long.
Bro,
Every single time there's a singing scene, I'm so happy to have streaming so I can just skip that crap.
you skip the singing parts in movies?
Yes! Yes! Without a shadow of a doubt. I also skip most of the musical performances on Saturday Night Live. I give them like 35 seconds on Saturday Night Live to get my attention.
You
And if you
are...
don't come out crushing it with your performance, next.
You are the town from Footloose. That's what you are.
No dancing.
I
No one's allowed
appreciate
to dance. No musicals.
Those Disney songs go hard, bro.
You can listen to them, just don't make me do it.
Well, you know, I'll say this. I know that this is obviously something you're not gonna go out and see in theaters, Gary, you in particular. But if in 3 months or so it gets put on a streaming service, or let's be real, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna end up buying it on 4K and redeeming the digital copy, and I'll let you watch it. I would be interested just to see if you just sat and at least started it and see how far you get and see if you have any kind of appreciation
Yeah,
for
Gary,
it.
give love a chance, you
It
bastard.
looks, I mean, it's just like, here's the thing. I love Steven Spielberg. Obviously, his heyday of things like Jurassic Park or whatever, we're a little bit far removed from those. And I feel like it's been a while since he's had, like a Spielberg level masterpiece, and this feels like that it could be up there. Like, this feels like top tier Spielberg, and that's spoken as a film lover, so maybe I'm biased.
No, man,
have
that's
so much
all.
nostalgia
Everything you're
for
saying, that's
his
such
movies.
huge, high praise. Like, it sounds like you really liked it.
It's all farting in a jar so that you can sniff it later. That movie, there's no way it's the best movie, Drew. No way is a Spielberg remake of an old musical a 5 out of 5. I will cry.
Of an old musical of a very old play.
I will elbow drop that fucking movie straight through the table.
Well, here I'll transition to a different movie that I watched.
Give me something else.
It's at the House of Gucci. It's a Gucci.
That sounds
Is that
Gucci,
a good?
bro.
Is that a good Italian accent there that I was doing?
Is this a documentary about Gucci Berry?
It is not a documentary. This is a narrative film directed by Sir Ridley Scott and starring Lady Gaga and Adam Driver and Jeremy Irons and Jared Leto and Al Pacino, and it's just got a stacked cast, and it is all about the kind of the fall of the Gucci family. If you don't know, the the Gucci brand name is still strong today, but none of the Gucci family is actually working with the Gucci brand name anymore. And this kind of tells the story of how and whys of that and how they mismanaged the company years ago. And yeah, this is a Ridley Scott movie. You know, he's actually had 2 movies come out this fall, this and The Last Duel. I actually liked The Last Duel better than this, but this is, you know, all style, oozing with style. If you want to see Adam Driver and Lady Gaga dressed in really fancy, cool outfits and talking in Italian accents, this is the movie for you.
I guess
It's at the House of Gucci.
it's at the House of Gucci. Yeah. I don't know. Was it good?
It was good. I think I was hoping it was going to be better, but it was still good.
I've heard mixed things on this one, and it doesn't immediately appeal to me.
It's one of those movies that I liked it, but it's not one that I'd be like, oh, you've got to go see this right now. It's not that.
I like Lady Gaga, and I like Adam Driver.
And I generally don't like Jared Leto. He's actually in some of my favorite movies. Like, I love Blade Runner 2049. He is not one of my favorite parts of that movie.
I was really surprised by him in that movie. I thought he did really good in that movie, actually.
Yeah, and in this, he's wearing a lot of makeup and prosthetics. He's unrecognizable because he's playing kind of like a heavier set, middle-aged Italian man who is not one of the most beautiful people on earth like Jared Leto is. And so, and he's just going for it, you know, in every sense of just over-the-top, crazy character, which is kind of, I think, what he likes to do these days in his weird method acting world. And you can tell he's having a blast.
Jared Leto actually won me over with Dallas Buyers Club. I was not a huge Leto fan in most of his early work, and then I'm not a big 30 Seconds to Mars fan either, but I loved him in Dallas Buyers Club, and ever since then I know that Leto's got a big pair of acting chops on him.
A role for which he won an Oscar that he could probably never play today.
Yeah, that might be true.
Mm-hmm. Just based on how we have, I think, how we're still evolving as a culture.
I don't think
he can play that role today.
I do think the script could be altered just a little bit to still allow him to play that role.
Potentially.
He's in a lot of stuff lately. He's going to be... I just saw the Morbius trailer not that long ago. I was like, oh, wow.
You get an audible oof out of Drew for that trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't like it. I thought it looked pretty cool, but, I mean, like... What do you expect from the Living Vampire movie, you know? But I always liked it when he would team up with people in the comics, and so I'm hopeful. But I am not a Jared Leto fan, so it's kind of...
I'm for sure going to go see it in theaters.
I'm
because
definitely
that's what I do, but I'm not excited about it. No.
I just want to see him and Blade team up or something. That's all I want. Yeah, so House of Gucci. Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those that if you're wanting to watch a 2-hour and 40-minute intriguing biopic-esque Ridley Scott movie, once, you know, it's readily available or more accessible, absolutely do it. But, you know, I almost put this in my Oscar minute because I know that Lady Gaga is getting some talks for you know, getting nominated for an acting award and such, but I just don't know if I see this one having legs in the awards race, but we'll see. You know, maybe a nomination here or there. I don't know if it would win anything, but it might be. You might see it a little bit more pop up with some of that.
Gotcha.
But I guess I'll transition into my actual Oscar minute for this week because I'm sorry to take up all the time, but I just have watched a lot of stuff here recently.
All the time you want, Drew.
But I saw two. So here, it's time for Drew's Oscar minute for this week, and I did see two big Oscar potential movies this year that are going to be heavily in the awards race. The first I'll talk about is Belfast, which it's about Belfast. That's the movie. Now it's directed by Kenneth Branagh, and this is kind of a story a little bit about his youth. I think growing up in Ireland, and it's trying times in the late 60s in Belfast, and just kind of coming of age with some political unrest there in the country. It's in black and white, 4:3, so it's a very intimate movie. It stars Jamie Dornan, who I actually really like. He, unfortunately for him, is probably most associated as far as the franchise world goes, with the 50 Shades of Grey movies, because he's in those. But I think he's been recently trying to break away. He's doing a lot more independent films and things that I've actually come to really like him in some of his recent work. So I am interested to see where he goes. But he's very good in Belfast. It's almost worth seeing just for him. But this is one that actually has been getting talks at, like, good shot of winning Best Picture this year. Like, it's up there with that high of praise. So I went in ready to love it, and I thought it was fine. So it just, I honestly don't even have that much to say about it. It's like an hour and 30-minute love letter to Belfast in a way.
Yeah, it's been so well received that they're making a sequel called Belfaster.
They're gonna make a prequel as well, called Bell Slower.
Oh, man, Gary had me with his joke, and then Jahan just took it to a whole nother level that I was not on that level. I was on the Belfaster level. I was not on the Bell Slower level.
Welcome.
But the other movie that I'll talk about this is actually on Netflix now, for everybody's viewing pleasure, but it's called The Power of the Dog. And this is Jane Campion's newest film. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch and Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons. And it's hard to know where to start with this. It's a Western, and it's a very kind of slow burn, intriguing film that I don't want to go too much into the plot in fear of spoiling it, but I'll say this: it's Benedict Cumberbatch, probably the best performance I've ever seen from him. He is a ranchman, he's a cowboy, and his brother is played by Jesse Plemons, who kind of owns the land and manages it, and Plemons gets married to Kirsten Dunst in the film, and Benedict Cumberbatch just kind of slowly terrorizes her character and her son from afar. That's really all I'll say about it. I really, really liked this. I thought it was going to be one of my favorites, if not my favorite of the year, until I saw West Side Story. So I'll put it that way. But this is not going to be for everyone. I mean, this is very... I don't like using the term Oscar bait for movies, because I don't think this is an Oscar bait movie, but this is definitely the type of movie that gets talked about at the Oscars and, is going to be in those conversations. So I think some people will just associate it with that, but it's very good. But that's really, the performances in it are incredible. I don't know if I really have anything else I want to say about it for fear of spoiling where the plot goes. But it's on Netflix, so you can watch it whenever you want.
That's a good deal. So yeah, if it's on Netflix, I might check it out.
Oh,
this just falls, Netflix is doing what they can to get some Oscar. They want a Best Picture Oscar. They are going for it. They want it. They're trying. They're getting close every year.
It would change
so
so
much.
much.
Awards, but they're getting there.
Usually I'm a big Hulu guy. This week, the shows I've been watching at Netflix, man, Netflix is coming hard again. Netflix is popped back on the map.
Yeah.
Well, how about that's a perfect transition then? I'll transition to you. What have you been watching on Netflix?
I've watched, okay. I thought it was two things. It's three things. I finished Cowboy Bebop on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it has, unfortunately, you shared the bad news with us this week. It's been canceled. It's been shit canned. No season 2. I liked it. I liked Cowboy Bebop. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I would definitely watch a season 2.
Man, I would give it an 8. I also finished watching it recently. And at one point I was like, this might be better than the subject matter. This might be better than the anime. And so, I mean, is it? No. but it comes close. Like, it's very good.
Casting is like next level casting.
Fantastic
Holy
casting,
crap.
yeah. Spike's great. Jet is the perfect cast.
They even did a great job casting Ein.
Yeah.
Does Ein have a big presence in the show?
No.
Yes.
I wouldn't say he has a big presence.
I would say that Ein is... I don't know, Drew. You get enough Ein.
I don't feel like you get enough Hein.
You get enough Ein.
He's not in every episode. So
That's right.
That's
you
not
get,
enough.
Like 1/5. You get enough Ein.
Faye was fantastic. I mean, so they changed they changed stuff, that's not a remake of the anime, and I didn't want one. That's weird to ask. As long as you stay true to the characters, like I feel like the characters are pretty true to form, and I feel like the story overall is pretty true to form, and it has that same feel. I love it. I love the universe building. I thought it was great.
Shame. So I haven't watched it, but I know that I followed, the hype cycle for it, and from its development, and it seemed like it was very closely followed. It's obviously that Netflix invested a lot in it, budget wise, and it's one of those that it seems like it didn't really hit with critics, which okay, that's fine. Neither did Red Notice, but they're gonna make a Red Notice too, so. But every one of my close friends that is a fan of Cowboy Bebop and has watched the show has said positive things about it. So it seems like, hardcore fans are liking this, but it's still shocking to me because Netflix is usually seems like they're pretty agreeable to renew shows. I mean, I saw a stat recently that it's like upwards of 60% of their shows each year get renewed. So, the majority. And it's shocking to me that this didn't, which can only mean that people just weren't watching it, I guess. I mean, obviously the hardcore fans were, but maybe it just didn't have mass appeal beyond that. That's all I
really think that part of the issue with the cancellation of shows on streaming services is that they look at it the same way as a network looks at premieres and like that kind of thing. It's streaming. I'm gonna watch it when I want to. I'm not gonna necessarily watch it day one. You know what I mean? And like I feel like you gotta give people more time when it's a streaming only show to watch.
I know a lot of people who I've told you gotta watch something on streaming. You gotta watch this. You gotta watch that. And they're like, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. But when you don't get to it, then the shit gets canceled. And then we turn around and act surprised that it got canceled. Well, get to it. Watch it. How will the companies know? At least if you want to watch it, add it to your playlist or go thumbs up it and like it so that you'll come back to it later. But I don't know, man. I think that's the exact problem, Jahan, is you're right. They're looking at it like premieres, but how long are they supposed to produce this show before they expect money to turn around and know if it's a boom or bust?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like it was canceled too quick. I literally just finished the show, and I was like, Mom, I really liked it. You should watch it, too. She started watching it, and then I looked at my phone, and it was like, Cowboy Bebop canceled. I'm like, what the? I'm like, come on!
Let's talk about another show that has not been canceled yet on Netflix. I don't think. Cross my fingers. I was a big fan of Jupiter's Legacy, even though it was trash and got canceled. Jahan liked it and thought it wasn't as much trash.
I didn't think it was trash. I thought it was cool.
Gosh! It took me a second to realize what you were talking about. This show doesn't exist anymore already. Like, I remember this came out and it was supposed to be a big deal, and then it just vanished it got canceled and vanished, and it was gone. Bye bye.
So Jahan and I we like superheroes, and so we liked the show because we like superheroes. It was not a very good show. This show, it's called Super Crooks. It takes place in that same universe. And it doesn't have the same heroes and it doesn't have the same characters. But in the beginning, in like the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes, they explain, like, this is the Jupiter's Legacy. The people went to the island, they got powers.
Yeah, they talk about the Utopian.
Is descendants of the family. So, like, okay, so you know that everyone's related to original power holders. That's this world. But other than that, it doesn't do a lot of you needed to have seen Jupiter's Legacy to understand it type of stuff. It feels like it's its own world. And Super Crooks, it's an anime. It's action-packed, and it's about super villains. And they are, like, up and coming. I would say they're not super villains yet. They're just villains. It's a good show. It's a fun time. It's funny. It's raw. It's dirty. It's action packed. It's violent. Don't watch it with
funny.
Kids. Yeah, it's. I would definitely say watch it if you're one of the people who's not big on anime. I think that the superhero vibe, the supervillain vibe, will get you through it. Super Crooks.
The first episode had me dying. I was laughing my ass off, and I liked it a lot. The superpowers are cool. The premise is interesting. I don't know.
The main character has lightning powers.
It's a good anime.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's, again, Super Crooks. I'll say the name 4 times. That way when you're scrolling down Netflix, you're like, didn't Gary say something about Super Crooks? Yes, I did. Watch it. It's cartoon villains. They're violent and it's funny.
Looks like just over the summer they announced that they're doing a live-action version of this series also.
Wow.
Despite Jupiter's Legacy being canceled.
See, the funny thing is,
I have faith in this.
The funny thing is, I had heard about the live action before I knew about Super Crooks. Like, I actually thought that this was going to be live action, and then it was anime. I was like, what happened?
Well, I think, even with that being said, with that additional information being added on top, I think that's another reason you guys should watch it. If they're making more content for it, you should check it out. It's cool. It's... I think that the Jupiter's Legacy is actually based off a manga or based off an anime, and it didn't translate well. And then they're running it back now. I see Jahan searching, so he can verify that. The other thing on Netflix, the final thing on Netflix that I've been watching is True Story, which is a Kevin Hart show, and I am historically not a Kevin Hart fan.
I've seen this one on the top trending shows, so I know of this one.
His comedy doesn't usually hit for me. I usually think the other person in the scene is the funny one, and he's just the whiny one. But in this show, he is he has a very wide range of acting. This is a dramedy for sure. There are twists in the first episode that will have you hooked on this show. There's a mystery afoot, and Kevin Hart is acting his balls off. So I would say you should watch this, and it's good. True story. It's very good. It's Kevin Hart dealing with he goes by Kid in the show. Kid is his name, but he is basically Kevin Hart. He's just divorced his wife. They have kids. He's a worldwide, nationwide stand-up comedian that has to go from show to show all across the country. And so he's dealing with a lot of the stress of being a celebrity and having that station in life and being approached by strangers who say stupid, hateful, horrible shit to you that they think is funny because they heard it on TV. And so there's a lot. The show is deep, and it's teaching a lot of messages as well as being a good dramedy that hooks you in. It's too early for me to tell you that this is like a 10 out of 10 because I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes. Maybe it falls flat, maybe it gets stale, but it came out swinging. That's Kevin Hart's True Story on Netflix.
Yeah, Jupiter's Legacy is based on an American comic book.
Okay.
Yeah, by Mark Miller. It's like Mark Miller's Netflix distributed comic book series. He's been doing a bunch of them, so it's interesting.
Yeah, now,
John, have you been watching anything on your Netflix train?
I'm still upset about Jupiter's Legacy being canceled. But yeah, so I've been watching some stuff. So I'm watching a lot of stuff that's ongoing, that's happening right now, including Hawkeye, Wheel of Time. But as far as Netflix goes, I did recently finish Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2.
I need to jump back into this. I've watched the first one of Part 2, but I have stopped because I've just had so much other stuff to watch.
Man,
I want to finish it.
I couldn't put it down, man. I couldn't put it down. I finished it pretty quickly. And then I tweeted about it, and Kevin Smith liked my tweet, so that was cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting for me because I'm a loser. But yeah, it was cool. So I really enjoyed it. I was impressed with what he did, just with the series. He took this lore that exists, he expanded on it, he changed some stuff, he added to it, and he just made it better. He turned it from a kids show into like a solid lore base, and I think that part 2 is better than part 1. There was a tipping point somewhere where something happens, and I was like, okay, that's kind of... It seemed like they wrote themselves into a corner and then wrote themselves out kind of thing. But then it wasn't that, and I was really impressed. I liked it. Not 10 out of 10, but, like 8 out of 10 probably. Absolutely solid. Absolutely fresh.
Get to the rest of it before our next episode, so hopefully I'll be able to just add a couple of thoughts to it too.
I thought it was...
Did you watch it, Gary?
No, I didn't ever finish the first half. I'm not a huge He-Man guy.
Yeah, I remember you being kind of mixed on the first half. Anyway,
I just think the art is cool. I just don't think that the story is super interesting. I don't think the characters are overly interesting. I don't have a soft spot for He-Man as a kid. He-Man doesn't really do anything for me. Just, honorable mention to that art. I hope that artist does art in a tabletop book that we produce one day or publish, because that art is hot fire.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, that's pretty much all I saw on Netflix recently. But have you guys been keeping up with Hawkeye?
I'm up to date on Hawkeye.
You're up to date on Hawkeye.
I have watched all 4 episodes up to this point, which actually also
4, yes.
I actually went to go watch Hawkeye today and forgot I was going to watch Hawkeye and saw that there was a National Geographic Will Smith show where Will Smith travels the world and looks at things. And I saw Will Smith go into a volcano today.
Did he bump into Jeff Goldblum? Because that'd be really funny.
No, he did not bump into Jeff Goldblum, but I would watch that series.
Life finds a way. Yeah.
Well, hey, William, you're William Smith, right?
So, speaking of Hawkeye, I actually am holding this up. I have this graphic novel I just recently purchased. I'm showing it on camera for those of you listening, but it's this, but like it's super thick.
That's a thick boy.
Can see. This collects all, I think, the first 25 or 26 issues of the Hawkeye series by Matt Fraction. Sorry, I was speaking away from my mic if that wasn't picking up. But because I had never read the Matt Fraction Hawkeye run that was very well received, that really talks about Clint Barton and Kate Bishop's team partnering and their adventures, and man, these are really good. And I've been kind of reading it along with the show, and I'm really glad that I have been, because there have been a lot of things that are straight from the frame in this book that has been in the show that gave me a laugh as somebody that read it. So it's given me a little bit more out of the show.
You're doing the extra credit, and it's paying off. Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. I won't say much about what happened in episode 4 or anything, since
it's pretty recent.
Hasn't seen it yet. I don't want to spoil anything, but no, I think it's still been really good. I thought episode 3 was really strong.
I specifically said I thought episode 3 was delightful. I thought it was amazing. I loved it. I loved every second. The scene on the bridge. Just made me so, because like they showed parts of that episode and the trailer, they didn't show what happened on the bridge, and that caught me by surprise, and I thought it was awesome. The Marvel Universe came in and kissed that scene, you know what I mean? Just a little peck on the cheek, and it was perfect. I loved it.
A lot of the banter about trick arrows and in the most recent episode, the boomerang arrows and jokes like that. I mean, that's all straight out of the pages of the comic books. So it's been very enjoyable.
After the first episode or whatever, I heard a lot of critics were like, their chemistry sucks. And it's like, yeah, they're strangers. They don't know each other. And it's just developed into this great rapport between them. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that has never been an issue for me, their chemistry. I've thought that it flows really well, actually. So I'm enjoying it. I'm invested.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. And episode 4 was good, and there is an appearance of a thing. But apparently, they're saying that episode 5 is going to break the internet. So we'll see. Yeah, that's what I think. Kevin, I don't know if it was Kevin Feige or someone else, but
I hate when people do that. I hate when those executives or whoever producers are like, "This one's gonna break."
He said it's gonna break the
internet. Just let it happen. Just let it happen.
That's what he's claiming.
Like the Evan Peters appearance in WandaVision broke the internet when that happened, and just don't let me know that's gonna happen, and it'll be that much more because now I'm gonna be expecting something, and it's probably not gonna live up to my expectations, or it's
never
gonna be what I
does.
think is going to happen, and I'll just be like, yeah, that's what I thought. And that's it.
And it's not as exciting. Yeah, no, I feel you on that. But I'm looking forward. I love the Hawkeye series. I like it a lot.
Because it's all but confirmed that a certain actor portraying a certain character is probably showing up in this, because they really alluded to it in episode 3.
They did.
So, yeah, I
You
mean,
might-
it's like pretty much all but confirmed.
They're rumoring that you did see him, but that's a rumor. He touches
you see a hand.
You see a hand.
Right. But you still don't know.
You don't know. Yeah.
But I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, man, I'm excited. I can't wait. The appearance in episode 4 was fine. It wasn't as impactful as I was hoping. But yeah, I look forward. I will keep watching. The other thing I'm watching is Wheel of Time. Are you guys caught up with that?
Not caught up.
I did not watch the one that came out yesterday.
That's fair. It did just come out yesterday, so I'm not going to be giving spoilers. I actually thought...
Answer me this.
Yeah.
Is it... the last one I thought was very boring. Is this one very boring?
If you thought the last one was very boring, I don't know why you wouldn't think this one was boring. But I didn't think the last one was boring. This one is... I thought this was a good episode. It did a lot of good character development, which I thought was important. And they whipped something out of nowhere that I didn't see coming in terms of magic. And I thought that was really cool. And there's some hot sex in action if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's boobs.
Wow, Jahan, get after it. Now you're talking.
Sprinkles a little bit of quality on the episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want.
Wow.
Man.
That's it. Now you're doing it.
There you go, boobs. People die. I don't know.
Yeah, bro, that's what we wanted to see in the show. Where are the boobs at?
Yeah, where are the boobs? I want boobs like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Spartacus because it's better than Game of Thrones.
Blood and Sand? Man, that show is crazy. But yeah, so I thought Wheel Time is still going strong. I'm hearing a lot of people aren't liking it, and they keep comparing it to the books. I'm just so tired. It's so boring to talk about the books at this point. You know what I mean? Like when you're in anything, people are always like, "Oh, the book is better." Yeah, the book was better. The book's always going to be better. Books will never fully translate to the screen. It's not possible.
I do try to evaluate content like that on its own and separate it from the source material. Now, if there's something that you get out of the show because you've read the book or vice versa, I think that's great. I think that's
exactly.
Cool. But you can't judge it. I mean, for an example, sorry to go on a tangent. This is what I usually get mad at you guys about, but I'm going to do it now too. When
you get mad at us?
Spider-Man movie came out, the first one, and Tobey Maguire shot webs directly from his wrists and didn't have web shooters, and people are like, it's not Spider-Man. Spider-Man has web shooters. And for me, even as a junior high kid, I'm like, yeah, because this is a movie, and you don't want to see somebody replacing the web fluid cartridges as he does in the comics in a movie. Just let him shoot webs from his wrists.
Not going
Makes
to
it a
lie.
better movie.
I was annoyed by that particular one. But hey,
don't.
You know what really annoyed me is that he didn't have his Spider-Man spider cycle that he has, and so he didn't swing around town ripping a bike with his butt cheeks, driving a motorcycle up and down buildings with boosters.
Does he have a grippy butt? Is that a thing?
How else would he hold a motorcycle while he web slings?
Betwixt his spider cheeks.
my fault for going down this track, but we'll hold the Spider-Man talk because there's going to be plenty of Spider-Man talk next week on the show.
I can't wait. That's the first thing I'm going to go see in theaters since COVID happened.
When we record next week, I'll have already seen it. Are y'all going to go see it opening weekend?
I'm not sure.
I would love to. But
I would like to, but I'm probably going to go see it on my birthday.
Yeah,
so.
I want to be around people, and that sounds like a good way to be around people.
I'm too scared of getting spoiled, so I'm
also very scared of getting spoiled. I'm thinking about turning everything off until I see it.
Maybe
no TikTok, no nothing.
I'll sneak into the projection room at the theater and just watch it from up there, so I don't have to be around anybody.
The key is matinee. The key is go to the first showing of the day on a weekday if your work schedule would allow, or if it's a day you don't work. That's the key, because you'll be in the theater with maybe 3 other people.
Yeah, that means I'm pretty much not going to get to catch it opening weekend, though.
That's true. That is true.
No, anyway, I'm very excited.
Anyway, not to get too sidetracked, we were talking about Wheel of Time and book comparisons. Do you have anything else to say about Wheel of Time, Jahan?
Not really. I like it. I think it's a solid fantasy show. And I think it gets a lot of needless hate. Some
Wheel
parts of it are kind of
Time.
meh, but
it will get canceled because it's boring.
I think it's already been okayed for a season 2.
Yeah, I think it's been renewed for season 2.
But that's okay. It'll get canceled before season 3.
Gary thinks it's boring. I don't know why.
I don't think the show will make it. I don't think it has it.
I don't know. The episode that you're talking about, a bunch of magic shit happened and people died, and I thought it was awesome. I don't know why.
Right at the very end, right? Wasn't that the big thing?
I don't know. People are captured in the beginning and then
it
tortured.
was a really, really long, boring episode until a cool thing happened.
Before we jump into game stuff, I was going to talk about 2 other quick things that I watched, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah, man. Tell us about what you watched.
Well, I'll just say, because we've already talked about this a bit, but I had mentioned... We talked about the DMX documentary from HBO's, from Ringer's Music Box series. And at the time, I think you had finished it or almost finished it, Gary, and I'd only seen about half of it, but I still chimed in. And I have since finished it, so I just wanted to give it its due mention that I did finish it. I enjoyed it. It did go into a little bit more of his substance abuse issues, and his, the ending of the documentary really gets to some of his spiraling that I think actually does kind of show unfortunately where his life was heading before he unfortunately passed away earlier this year. So that is what it is. It's just worth mentioning. I did enjoy the documentary overall. I thought it was decent, but it was kind of a tough watch just knowing that stuff. So I'll say that. That's really all I have to say about it. But I have a lot to say about this next piece of garbage that I caught on TV.
Oh, wow. Drew's coming out swinging.
You never talk bad about things. Oh, my God. I'm excited for this.
So I'd heard about this, and it wasn't even something that I had necessarily on my radar to watch, but I happened to catch it on TV, and I was like, I'll tape this and I'll check it out. And oh boy, there is a new game show that is on, I caught this on TBS of all things, and they've put some money into this. Warner Brothers has put some money into this, but they did a game show that's called Harry Potter Hogwarts Tournament of Houses. And this is a fan game show. So first off, like I said, they've put money into this. The set looks nice. It's hosted by Dame Helen Mirren, an Oscar-winning actress who's not in the Harry Potter movies.
Which is really funny.
But she's hosts the show, and they have appearances from actors and people who were, in the movies. But it is literally fans that are assigned to groups of fans assigned to the Harry Potter houses that compete in each episode doing Harry Potter trivia. And so I have read the Harry Potter books, and I'm like, I'll check this out and see what the trivia is all about. But as soon as it started and I, started to see where this show was going, it is mostly trivia from the movies, first off, not
Yeah.
just from the books. It's mostly related to the movies. And some of it is just things like, now watch, a quick 10-second scene from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And then the trivia question will be, a mundane detail in the deal of like, in the background on this book, there was a Roman numeral, and what was the Roman numeral? It's like random questions like that. That's just attention to detail that don't even. Some of the questions don't even have anything to do with the movies themselves, other than that kind of stuff. And then the questions are just, there's like multiple choice questions. Half the time, in the multiple choice answers, there was like a joke answer. So really, there were only 3 answers that were legitimate. And you can tell the producers tell the fans who have to answer questions to talk about it before they answer. So instead of just being like, yeah, the answer's B, they have to sit there and be like, well, analyzing the question. Well, Godric Gryffindor couldn't have been born here, so he definitely had to be born here. So we're going to go with C, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, everything about this show made me cringe.
I gotta watch this.
And it gets me on another tangent, because here's the thing. I grew up with the Harry Potter books. I think, I read the first book when I was maybe in 5th grade, and
Same.
read the first few, and then once the 4th one came out, it was like every year, every time a new one was coming out, and it was an event, and I was on board for that, and I liked reading the books, and I still, to this day, like the books. Which I'm not going to get into any controversies or politics involving J.K. Rowling. We'll leave that for separate. I'm just talking about the Harry Potter and the books, the stories themselves, and so I liked those as a kid, and I like them to an extent as an adult. However, there is something. Oh boy, I'm gonna offend some people with this, but I'm just gonna say it.
Oh no!
There is something about the adult fandom of Harry Potter that I find to be very gross. I liked the books, like I said.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of them for years and years. I don't think I own a single piece of Harry Potter merchandise, nor will I ever. Now, I'm not saying you're not allowed to buy merchandise, but I have seen a lot of people through social media, people who are my age, who are having children for the first time and decorating their children's, their babies' rooms before they're born at Harry Potter themes and things like that. And I just find it to be disgusting. Just stop. We need to have an intervention for all of these people. It just needs to stop.
Drew, let people enjoy the things
this is
an ugly side of you, Drew.
Yeah.
I'm looking around for my wand right now.
Yeah, I'm over here like, if they decorate their kids' room with Star Wars stuff, what's the problem? Like, if you make it look like the inside of a TIE fighter or a X-wing,
it bothers Drew. I feel
there's just something about.
I feel like Drew.
Well, that's because the Harry Potter fandom is new, because you grew up with it, but it's not new anymore. It just was for you. Like, Star Wars would have been for the generation before us. It was already old for us, so it's not that weird.
I'm the same way. I grew up with the books. I remember every time one would release, like bookstores would have release parties where you could get sorted, and there was like Magic Punch and like all that kind of stuff. And I'm a lifelong Potter fan as well. And I do own some merchandise, Drew. I have a wand. I have a couple shirts. I think that's it, really. I didn't overdo it. And I'll say this. I do get what you're saying.
I'd love to go to, Universal Studios in Orlando and go see the Harry Potter themed,
I've been once.
Park. I would like to go see that. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Actually, the wands I find to be fine. Like, if you're buying a wand, like, that's kind of neat because it's a personalized thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know, though. There's just something about, the parents trying to sort their newborn babies into what Harry Potter house they'd be in and all this kind of stuff that a lot of it makes me cringe, and I just can't
help that.
I don't like to be the person to tell people that they can't like the things that they want to like, but man, something about this bothers me.
It's funny.
Worth mentioning the Fantastic Beasts series, which I don't think I saw any mention of them in the Harry Potter trivia show that I was watching, but I know that there's a new one that's going to be coming out next year. There's more of these, so there's still Harry Potter coming out. But man, I
actually really liked the first Fantastic Beasts movie, but the second one was nah.
Yeah, and I just watched this thinking like, oh, I might be good at Harry Potter trivia. Let me watch this. And then I started watching it, and I'm like, nope, this is everything about the Harry Potter fandom that I hate. I cannot watch this. I just don't like this.
Oh,
so that's
let me. You ended at a perfect time. We have to do an actual shout out, thank you to the Twitch side of the stream, to the people who view the live podcast. We just hit 250 followers. We just hit our goal. And so it was Polar Knights showed up. Polar Knights has joined us tonight for the first time and was our 250th follower. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate growing, and thank you for being part of this with us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks. Well, congratulations.
And they subscribed. Yeah. Thank you so much. But yeah, no, so the Harry Potter thing, I mean, I get it. It can be gross. Really, it's just the fact that a lot of people, whenever you let something consume your entire personality, I say while wearing a Lord of the Rings Christmas sweater, it can get kind of gross. But yeah, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I went to Universal. It was fantastic. And we went to, you go into Ollivander's, the wand shop, and they do like the wand chooses the wizard kind of thing, and they pick someone from the crowd to come and like get a wand. And I remember being really disappointed he didn't pick me. And I was like, no, he probably should pick the child that was 8 and not me, a grown adult. Like, I had a moment where I was like, oh, no! But then I was like, oh, no, that's fair.
I, without a doubt, am going to buy Jahan, like, Hogwarts decor whenever he has a baby for the baby shower. I'm going to buy all sorts of shit for him to put up in the baby room. I can't wait until he sends the pictures to Drew.
The last thing I'll say about Harry Potter Hogwarts Tournament of Houses, which is the real name of a show that I watched, oh boy, is I just feel like even the most hardcore Harry Potter fan could potentially watch this and be turned off to the Harry Potter fandom. Like that's the vibes.
I'm going to watch this. I'm going to look at
your own risk.
I got to know now.
But that's all I got. We can move on to some of our gaming stuff before we wrap up for the evening.
John, have you been gaming? Do you have any gaming stuff?
I've been gaming with you this week, buddy.
All right, I'll drop all the gaming stuff. That's right, we have been gaming together this week. We've been on a first-person kick this week. Let's just say it's all first person, so we're shooting a lot of things this week. Of course, we've been playing Battlefield 2042, which we are fans of Battlefield. We've gone on the record to say so. I'm starting to like 2042. I don't know if it's Stockholm Syndrome or if they cleaned everything up, but they have done 2 major updates, and the game is running so much smoother. The only real issues I see anymore are just the skins and the textures having problems loading in, and that's it. It's just kind of a graphics lag loading in situation. Other than that, everything's working. The bullets are going where they're supposed to. The cars aren't falling through the ground anymore.
So as you say that, I mean, we were playing before we streamed. And so I found a spot, right, where if you go prone, everything on the map disappears. And you can't see anything until you stand up. And, like, it wasn't like a one-off, like I found like a secret thing. It was every time I went there, it was bullshit.
I'm not even sure if that's... You could do that in any game. Any video game in the world, you could go find a wall to stand in to see through the map.
It wasn't even a wall. I was prone on a balcony. Looked like in a sniping spot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then, I fell through the level the other day. I mean, it still has a lot of bugs. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun playing it. We shit on this game when it came out.
I'm still not telling you to go.
I'm still not telling you to go buy it, but me and Gary have been enjoying the crap out of it.
We've gotten a lot more guns, a lot more unlocks, a lot more vehicles. We're starting to like the maps. Like I said, this could just be Stockholm Syndrome, but I think that the review culture for this game is trash. I went to go look at the reviews, and it's 1s and 5s. And that's a lie on both sides of the fence. The game isn't a 1 because it is playable, and they did address issues, and it is fun. It's at least a 2 if you're going to be a dickhead. And the game's definitely not a 5 because it's kind of a piece of shit. So
it's definitely,
the ratings, you just kind of have to ignore anyone who gave it a 1 or a 5 and try to find out where the truth is somewhere in the middle.
I will say that we were playing the other night, and like there had been an update, and I was like, you know what? This does feel completely different, like a completely different game. And it did feel like they fixed a lot of issues. So
we've been playing Dying Light, which is a first-person shooter, but more of a survival game where there are zombies on the ground, and you're a parkour guy, and it's co-op. So you and your parkour team mates can run through the map, collecting the things you need to fight off the zombie horde that gets super dangerous at night. So during the day, most of the zombies are pretty docile, and they're slow-moving, and they're down low. But at night, you get some extra spicy zombies that'll chase you across rooftops and jump, and they're super strong. And so Dying Light has this really cool, it has a really cool feel to it. It's parkour, it's action, it's survival, and it's co-op, and it's this large open map. It has a lot of really cool things happening. Dying Light 2 is coming out. And
that's what I was going to say. I remember when Dying Light came out, because I think it came out in like 2014.
Yeah, it's not a new game.
It's been around for a while.
It is actually on sale on Steam right now for $11 right around. So,
but that is why we're playing Dying Light, is because Dying Light 2 is coming out. We were able to pick it up on sale a couple weeks back, and we're finally getting around to playing it. And then finally we're playing Far Cry 6, another co-op action first-person shooter. So you see where my headspace is at, right? I'm shooting bad guys this week. Bad guys are going down. We've been having a lot of fun with Far Cry, and it's also the kind of game, to me, Far Cry is my perfect example of a sweatpants game. I can pop it on and just walk around completing missions and knocking stuff out and almost not even think about doing it. You just walk to where the red base is, and you kill all the guys at the red base, and then you open the box that's on your mini-map. And you just keep doing that, and hours will go by while you're playing this game. I got a couple of clips. I got excited today and started to try to kill people in new inventive ways. So I got a couple of clips today, one where I use a blowtorch to light a guy on fire, and interchange between blowtorching him and shooting with arrows until it's over. And so I've started to venture outside the box and have some fun with it.
Yeah, and we recently found it does have a game mode, what's it called, Special Operations?
Yeah, that's right.
It's like a co-op mode, and it's so fun. You played, right, Drew?
I did.
Did you do any special operations?
I did, because there were some achievements tied to them. I didn't do any of the special operations in co-op. I just did them solo. There was one... y'all have probably played this one if you've played some of them, because I think it's one of the first ones you can choose, where basically you have to infiltrate this base and steal this device that you have to keep cool.
Yeah.
Like keep it in the shade or keep it underwater so it doesn't overheat. I did that one. So I played
we've done 3, and all 3 were that same format.
Yes.
So I thought it was really cool when I did the first one, and then a little less cool on the second one, and then by the time I was on the third one, I'm like, is this the only game type that you have? Like, it's
that's disappointing.
fun. It's fun enough, right? But I'd rather just be out in the open world doing the open world thing.
I enjoyed it a lot. I liked I don't know, it was different. It was a nice change of pace.
It was different, but if it's their only game type, then that is
they're all the same.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Far Cry, I want to talk just really quick. I'll have more to say about it probably next week when I've talked about it more.
I wanted to talk positive about Far Cry 2. You were reading some of the best game awards earlier, and you said best sound. It did not go to Far Cry. I remember that. I forgot.
I think it went to Forza.
It did. It did go to Forza. You're right. Far Cry has some really good sound stuff. When it's raining in Far Cry and you're in a helicopter, you can hear the raindrops hitting the ding, ding, ding on the windshield all around you, 360 degrees. And then when you shoot, the helicopter glass breaks. You hear the wind rush in over the storm. So there's some really great sound in that game. I was surprised to not see their name on the list. That was of note to me, was how good their sound was.
Interesting. Well, I was going to talk really quick just about the Halo Infinite campaign because it did drop this week, and I kind of thought all my friends would be jumping into the campaign, and I feel like I'm probably one of the only of my close friends that has been playing it, but I'm very, very positive on it so far. And having just played Far Cry 6, and I texted Gary earlier this week, and I said, "Holy crap! They turned Halo campaign into a Far Cry game," because that's what it feels like. You kind of do the first mission, a couple missions that are a little bit more linear, what you're used to from a Halo game, and then it drops you on the Zeta Ring, and you have some freedom, and you have a map, and you have, you get a little base that you take over, and then you see new icons pop up on your map, and some of them may be Spartan cores that you can use to upgrade your abilities or your tech, or it might be weapons lockers that give you unlocks for multiplayer, more cosmetics and things, or it might be a special enemy that has a cool weapon that you can unlock and things like that. So it's it has the story that's good so far and some fun campaign missions, but you can just kind of get lost exploring the world. I think the main difference between something like Halo and a Far Cry game, because I don't want to be too generic in the comparison, but Far Cry, you can have some good weapons and sneak up and headshot some enemies. They'll never know you're there, and it's one shot to take down some of these guys. Whereas when you're playing Halo, unless you have a sniper rifle or a super strong weapon, you're typically not going to be able to one-shot enemies, and a lot of times you shoot one, they're all going to know. So it takes a lot of strategy to take over places, because the AI in Halo, which has always been pretty good, is very good in this campaign as well. The enemies are smart. There's a lot of fun one-liners that have cracked me up from the grunts in particular, that it feels true to form for Halo. But I'm early in the campaign because I've just been exploring the world. I haven't really done that much. I've done maybe 2 boss fights or so that have been pretty challenging, but rewarding. And yes, I'm really enjoying the Halo Infinite campaign right now. I do recommend it. I know that all the games that you just recently had talked about, Gary and Jahan, were games you were playing co-op with friends. And as we've talked about before, there's no co-op currently in the Halo campaign, so you would have to be willing to sacrifice that and play it solo. But
that's rough.
I do think that it's a very good campaign. I've actually reclined back and turned on a podcast and explored the world, just kind of having fun in that. So it can be a good podcast game, and then pause it if you're diving into a good story mission. But so far, my impressions of it have been really good.
I mean,
one of the best Halo campaigns I've played.
Everything you said is great, and I'm glad that it's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The fact that it's not co-op sucks.
It will be.
But
at some point.
I'm just annoyed that it's not.
I can kind of understand from the developer's perspective why it isn't yet. Just because it isn't the linear campaign that they've had in Halo games of past, that may be a little easier to just drop a second player in. I think with the open world and how much there is, which I know this isn't really that valid of a criticism, because
Far Cry's an
open world that is
years.
co-op, and so but I feel like there's just a lot going on in Halo and how good it looks and everything, that it's probably difficult for the game to process having a second player. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of for why it's not there already. But regardless, playing by myself, I've had a very good time. So that's all I have to say about it.
I'm glad it's good. I do want it to be good. I've seen some footage. Specifically, like, the map looked really cool. The interactive map was dope. I don't know. It looks fun, and I do intend to play it. And Xbox has been doing a lot of cool stuff lately on Game Pass. Just real quick, I just remembered they released like 10, 15 games this month. Like, what the hell, And a lot of them are really good. Like, I always wanted to play Evil Geniuses 2. It's on there. They Battle Sector Warhammer is out. Final Fantasy games, Halo, Serious Sam 4. A lot of cool games just for free.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Jahan, because I was just going to mention, I meant to say this when talking about Halo. somebody on Reddit shared this, and I thought it was worth noting because there's been, a lot of backlash over the past few years against Xbox of like, they don't have, Microsoft doesn't have any exclusives. Oh, the better exclusives are on PlayStation and yada yada. I get it, and it's been a valid criticism and complaint for years now, honestly. But I think that 2021 was a slower year for PlayStation exclusives. They had Ratchet and Clank, which was wonderful. Miles Morales was the year before. It was actually 2020, so that doesn't really count. They've had some exclusivity window games that have come out, but like somebody broke this down with some Metacritic scores, but with Xbox and PC, specifically Microsoft, you've had Flight Simulator, which has a 91 overall score on Metacritic. Psychonauts 2 is an 89% on Metacritic. Age of Empires 4 with an 81, Forza Horizon 5 with a 92, and now Halo Infinite with an 87. And it's actually been a really good year for Xbox and Microsoft exclusives. And there's another one to include that's worth noting. Deathloop, which won several game awards, an 88 on Metacritic, but it's a Bethesda game that had an exclusivity deal with PlayStation before Microsoft purchased Bethesda. So Bethesda had to honor that exclusivity deal. So it's currently only on PlayStation consoles, but it has reviewed great. It's supposedly one of the best games of the year. I am actually waiting. I'm going to hold out for it because it will come to Xbox next year, and it will come to Game Pass day one.
That's good to know.
It's a Bethesda game.
That's good to know.
It's technically a Microsoft Game Studios game that is a PlayStation exclusive currently, but it's just one of the few holdovers from before Microsoft purchased them.
It's so funny how much of a slap in the face Microsoft buying Bethesda was to PlayStation owners, because like they, like you said, exclusive Deathloop, they were gonna get Elder Scrolls like everybody. They were gonna get Starfleet or whatever, like everybody, and now they're not, and that's really funny. It's kind of messed up. Good job, Microsoft, on just dropping all 10 pounds of dick on the table.
Kneecapping your opponent.
Jesus. It's brutal. It was a brutal, vicious assault on PlayStation. And, like, holy crap. Because they're like, neener, we have exclusives. And then they bought Bethesda. And that's just funny. It's mean. It was mean. I actually kind of feel, I think everyone should be able to play Elder Scrolls. But, I think they've confirmed now that it will not be on PlayStation, and that's really funny.
Just as a dedicated Xbox gamer, which I have a PlayStation 5, I like playing PlayStation 5 games. I just prefer my Xbox and the ecosystem there. And, with their purchase of Bethesda, there's a part of me that has this brand loyalty that's like, man, Deathloop was only $30 for Black Friday. I thought about buying it for PlayStation 5, but I said no. I want to kind of show tribute to the purchase that Microsoft made, and I'll wait till it comes to Xbox and I'll play it there with my Game Pass subscription. It's like, that's what I have this for. I'll wait.
I'm glad you said something, because my younger brother just beat Deathloop finally, and he's been raving about it to me. I thought about getting it, but if it's going to be free next year, I'm not buying it.
I think that it was either a 9-month or a year-long exclusivity window that they had for the PlayStation console, and I think it came out in maybe September. So, I mean, it'll be here before you know it.
I'm always worried about saying stuff like that, like, I'm not going to buy it because it's on the Game Pass, because I don't want them to stop putting good games on Game Pass, you know what I mean?
And let's be real, I've got enough games to play as it is. I have games that I bought Black Friday 2020 that I still have downloaded on my console that I haven't played. Like, I have things to play. It's fine. I can wait.
Me too. Good job, Xbox. I don't know. That's it for me. You got anything else, Drew?
That's it for me. I think that we can wrap it up for today.
Well, hey, this has been great. Happy holiday season. Whatever you celebrate. I have been Johananon at RockFact on Twitter and at Johananon1 on TikTok.
I am Casualty CDG, a retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian. You can find me at Casualty CDG across all social medias. And don't forget to follow Fresh Out the Box, where Jahan and I play tabletop role-playing games every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. Sometimes we play board games. We interview people from the gaming industry, like creative directors and game designers, basically anybody who wants to come talk about games. We love games, and games love you too. So give us a follow. And again, we're Fresh Out the Podcast also. So there's Fresh Out the Box, where we play games. There's Fresh Out the Podcast, we talk about stuff. So follow us on both. Like us on both. You're very good.
My name is Drew. You can find me at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. And I think that is it for episode 23 of Fresh Out the Podcast. And 10 points for Gryffindor!
Hashtag what's your house? Us. Bye.
Bye.